Calamity Angel's Special Delivery is one of those RPGs that immediately tells you what kind of ride that you're in for. It's not like some sort of grand, chosen one epic, and it's not pretending to be either. It's a game about a world so dangerous that normal people can't even travel between towns anymore. Monsters are roaming everywhere, the roads aren't safe, and if someone needs something to be delivered, then it takes somebody strong enough, stubborn enough, reckless enough, or in this case, dumb enough, to leave town and actually get it there. This game is dumb AF, but it's also kind of a whole lot of fun. And today, I do want to tell you all about it, and I definitely do think it's worth the sub as you come and you join my party and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your brand new hype. It helps me out a ton. So, let's don our Mailman uniforms and start delivering some packages. Really stupidly. I do want to let you know that this game is coming out for the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC via Steam, and it supports both English and Japanese voice acting. And I've got to say, again, if you're looking for something like epic, something full of super serious political intrigue and adult dialogue and drama, look elsewhere, because you're not going to be finding that here at all. There's literally nothing to take seriously here. The game is a joke, and it kind of seems to be in on the joke, because it's really nonsensical, but it's still fun in a chill way to kind of pass the time. I'm not going to say it's a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. It's decidedly middle of the road, but if you're a fan of Idea Factory or Neptunia or anime or just, flat out stupidity, then I think that you might find something fun here. Let me start at the beginning. You play as the leader of a delivery group officially called the Cutie Angels, but really known as the Calamity Angels because they all just suck. They've earned the reputation for being unreliable, messy, and barely holding it together at all. And you know what? Reputation is well deserved. Everybody is unhinged in their own crazy ways, and sometimes it makes it charming, other times it makes it just exhausting and downright annoying. You can choose between a male or a female delivery rider, and I picked a guy because, duh. And then I saw that his name was Yuri, and I immediately said to myself, wait, what, again? What is the deal with, every single JRPG naming their heroes Yuri? I don't get it, but whatever. I feel like there must be some sort of, unspoken rule out there that at least one JRPG protagonist per generation must be named Yuri. And Calamity Angels was not interested in breaking that tradition. So, Yuri is the leader of your team, and he's the only one that, has half of a brain cell, but unfortunately, he doesn't use his brains all that well because he doesn't do anything in battle. He can't attack. You can kind of think of him like the guy in Pokemon. He just kind of tells everybody else what to do. He's not going to be swinging swords or casting spells. He can use items, he can end the turn, or he can run away. That's it. So basically, Yuri becomes a potion-using heal bot. So instead, the actual fighting is handled by your team of absolute morons. So I guess the game does feel a little bit different from most JRPGs in that way because, it is interesting, I guess. It just sucks that your main party is a group of absolute disasters. There's Sulia, who's obsessed with treasure and gems. She's greedy, she loves money, so some of her skills actually cost gold to use? Then there's Somnia, who suffers from narcolepsy and basically sleepwalks throughout the entire game. And I don't mean that metaphorically. She literally talks about nothing else besides sleeping. Does she eat? I don't know. Does she shower? Who knows? Does she take a dump? Damned if I know, but I certainly know that she sleeps, because it's literally the only thing that she ever talks about. She will talk about nothing else. In battle, though, she's a pretty strong fighter, but half the time, she won't actually attack, and she'll fall asleep mid-battle. It gives her a buff, but again, annoying. Then there's Irvis, and she's different. She's aggressively, bitchy, and her boobs are flying all over the place, and even though she is your mage, she doesn't like casting spells, and she'd rather fight. So half the time, whenever you tell her to, cast a spell, she's like, no ma'am, and she goes and she punches the enemies in the face instead. So this is what I'm talking about here. Later on, you'll be getting more characters who are equally as unusual and just as screwy and dumbasses. There's Selma, who is a knight, but she's shy and cowardly and doesn't even want to be there. And then there's Numero, who is a completely unhinged alchemist who experiments on people and wears a cloak covered in eyeballs. It's odd. So, the battles themselves are turn-based and they revolve around each character's tension. So everybody has like a visual, emotional state, and you have to watch like their facial expressions really closely. If somebody looks tired, bored, annoyed, or angry, their tension will drop. And when their tension is low, they will straight up ignore your commands and do whatever the hell they please instead. Which is quirky the first couple of times, and then incredibly annoying when if you actually need them to do something that's not, stupid. Then there's positioning. So enemies are split into front and back rows. The melee attacks can only hit the front row, but ranged and magic attacks can hit the back row. That part's pretty straightforward. Skills use SP, but the SP recovers every single turn. So, you can kind of like use whatever skills you want to, but if you don't use your character's preferred skills, they might not use anything. So the game is constantly nudging you towards playing characters in the way that they want to be played rather than the way that you want to play them, if that makes sense. Like, your mage character, she wants to fight, but you want her to cast a spell, but it's like, hey, I don't want to cast a spell, I'm going to fight anyway. So yeah, you kind of like do what the game tells you to do. Then there's special skills that unlock under really specific conditions. Sometimes it's taking damage, sometimes it's winning a fight a certain way, sometimes it's literally doing absolutely nothing for a turn. I'm not kidding. You'll occasionally unlock powerful abilities because the character stood around with their thumb up their ass. It's really an oddball system, but it fits the game's personality even if it's not always elegant. On a good note though, the combat system does have fast forward, which is always nice. The real star of Calamity Angels, though, isn't the combat, it's that delivery system. The game is divided up and split into chapters, and in each chapter, you'll pick up a delivery, some of which are main story quests, some are optional, and each one of these tells you what you're delivering, where it needs to go, what the rewards are, and what bonuses you can earn. So it's pretty straightforward and simple, but here's the catch. The packages are fragile. If they get damaged or exposed to heat or water or something like that, they can get damaged. And then, on top of that, each package contains something called a Moi power, which is like the emotional energy of the sender. So those feelings will fade over time, which essentially means you're on a time limit, and you can't really get damaged anyway. So, you have to deliver that package before the timer runs out, and if you do, you get better rewards. But it's not like you're just kind of going on a world map and delivering these packages. Exploration is more like a board game. You move around using a compass, you spin this spinner to move around a number of spaces, and every single tile can trigger something different. A battle, an event, an item, a disaster, who knows? Every single turn that you take will drain the package's willpower from your delivery, so yeah, you gotta go ahead and make good time, but again, it's a spinner. It's random, so you can't really make good time. Annoying. In theory, it's a cool idea. In practice, it can be frustrating because randomness plays a huge role in this. You could be doing everything that you want to do the best way you can do it, but you spin a 1 every single time, and then your moronic party members do whatever the hell they want to do in battle, and you're like, oh my god, I'm screwed, I'm not going to deliver this package on time. So again, the game is kind of random. The game does try to balance this out by giving you your willpower back after the battles though, so even though each turn costs you 1 willpower, winning a fight might give you a couple back though. It does help out, but it doesn't completely remove that stress. Sometimes there will be powerful monsters appearing on the board, and they move whenever you move, and if they collide with you, you're thrown into a much harder fight whether you wanted it or not. Once you do successfully deliver the package, the time pressure disappears. You can keep exploring the board, you can grab the treasure, you can trigger extra events, you could do whatever it is that you want to do. So I've got to say again, this game does not take itself too seriously. These party members are a bunch of screw-ups. The NPCs constantly dunk on them. The situations spiral into nonsense all the time. And even the voice acting, and again, whether you play it in English or Japanese, it doesn't exactly lend any seriousness to this, because, oh gosh, there's nothing serious here. But honestly, that's kind of the game's biggest strength, because the game knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to be this grand, epic RPG. It's not trying to emotionally devastate you. It's just trying to kind of like lift up your spirits and be fun. It is a fun experimental JRPG built around some really oddball ideas that kind of sort of maybe work together. But that being said, it is not a game for everyone. The randomness, the board game exploration, the tension system, the fact that your party members will straight up ignore you can sometimes and will piss off a lot of people. So even when you are enjoying it, it can still feel a little bit clunky and inconsistent and occasionally frustrating for no good reason. But if you are the kind of person who likes these kind of games, then this is definitely made for you. And honestly, that alone made it different. There was something very different about this game, which made it stand out in a genre that normally plays it pretty safe. So that's it for my review and overview of Calamity Angels. And if you did enjoy this, please be sure to level up and join my party by subscribing, and you can stick around for more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a good day.